Hi everyone, I'm Cheryl and welcome to the Sewing Room channel, and this is your tip of the week. Every now and then I'll demonstrate how to do a particular quilt block. It might be churn dash, 4-patch, fence rail. There's so many different blocks. And after I demonstrate it, I'll get viewer questions asking, well, how many blocks do I need to make a quilt? Well, I need more information than that. How big a quilt do you want to make? How big is your finished quilt block? So I'm going to go over how to calculate that. I'm going to use a quilt block that has a finished size of 10 by 10 inches. So whatever your finished quilt block size, you're going to plug that number in. Then you want to determine how big is your quilt. Well, let's say I want to make a quilt that's 40 inches wide by 60 inches long. So remember, I want to make a quilt that's 40 inches by 60 inches. And my quilt block size has a finished size of 10 inches. So here's my 40 inches wide. So to determine how many are in a row, I'm going to take that 40 inches and divide it by 10. So in each row, there's going to be 4 blocks, again, in each row. Now for the length, now you need to know how many rows do you want to put in. So here's 60 inches long, divided by 10, and that's 6 rows. So down here, you take the 4 blocks times the 6 rows. You need to make 24 blocks for your quilt. Well, I hope that helps so that you can try to start doing your own calculations. Now remember, this calculation didn't include any sashing or cornerstones in your quilt. This is just putting one block together after another block. To do the calculation for all of the other things is a lot more involved. In the previous 2 tips of the week, I demonstrated how to make different quilting stitch patterns, and that's the decorative stitching that's on top of your quilt. Some of you got very confused on the one where I showed you how to make a leaf pattern. In tip number 56, I showed you how to make a geometric stitch pattern using heart templates, square templates, triangles, all of that kind of stuff. And in the tip of the week, I showed how to make the leaf pattern. And in both of these techniques, I showed you how to take paper and fold it. So if you didn't see those 2 tips and you're a little confused about what I'm talking about, the links are going to be listed below your YouTube screen in the description section. So you can click on those and watch those. Here is the table runner, and I have 2 rows of a leaf vine stitch pattern. And so on this, it's continuous. It keeps repeating itself. You'll see 2 leaves, and then you'll keep going down, and you'll see more leaves. And then I have a second row over on the other side. Now, in the previous 2 tips of the week, I showed you how to fold your paper first. So you have all these layers. Then you're going to draw whatever design you want. It doesn't matter what it is. So here's my leaf design. Make sure your design is something that's easy to make continuous. Then after you've drawn your design, you're going to go to your sewing machine, remove the thread, the upper thread, completely from the machine. Set your stitch length to 3.0. Then you're going to stitch through all of these layers of the paper. You will notice that holes are put in the paper. This helps to duplicate the pattern through all of these layers, and it also creates these perforated holes that make it easy to tear off of your fabric. Now unfold the paper and place it down where you want it to go. This is a table runner, and because I want 2 rows of this, They've got one here and then one right next to it. I'm going to make 2 sets of my long strip of paper. Then you're going to take pins and pin the paper all the way down here and there. Not a whole bunch of them, but enough to make it keep the paper in place. You're going to keep your stitch length to 3.0. Put the thread back in your machine. Select a thread that you want to use for your fabric. And then you're going to stitch along here. You're going to stitch right on top of your perforated holes. Stitch along here, all the way up this side, all the way down the table runner, all the way down. Then you're going to turn it around, and then you're going to stitch down the other side, all the way around and down through here. Then when you're done stitching, you just tear the paper off. So after you remove the paper, you're going to see your stitch design is here. So that's how you transfer the design from your paper onto your fabric. I'm going to go over the fact that if you make the design too complicated, it can make it more difficult for you to do. So you want to keep your designs simple. For instance, on the back of these June Taylor circle templates, you're going to see all these little fancy designs that you can make with June Taylor templates. This would be extremely difficult to do using that paper method that I just showed you. So I don't recommend you'd use this on a whole quilt. In the previous 2 tips, I didn't mention that I had done this technique on a small wall hanging quilt. And this used to hang in my dining room. The only place I used this paper technique are on the top and bottom border and the 2 side borders. So I put that leaf vine pattern on the borders of this quilt. And how I did it was I have this little flower here, and I connected the leaf pattern coming out on each side of the flower. So the leaf design goes up one side, and then it comes out the other side of the flower and goes across. And what it does is you can't see it very well on this fabric because I had thread that matched the fabric. Then it goes all the way across to the other flower and connects. So I hope I've clarified how to do this leaf pattern. Remember, keep it simple, not too complicated, and I wouldn't do it on a giant bed quilt because it's going to be really hard on your back to push all that fabric through and twisting and turning. Well, I hope this information was helpful to you. If you're interested in other tips of the week, then there's going to be a playlist link listed below your YouTube screen in the description section. You scroll down to the description section, click on Show More or the down arrow, and you will see that playlist appearing. Remember, if you didn't see the previous 2 tips, number 57 and 56, those links will be in that playlist. Now, don't forget to follow me on Instagram and check out my Facebook page. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time, and happy sewing. If you like the Sewing Room channel, one of the best ways to show your support is to subscribe by clicking on that red subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. And don't forget to click on share to share this video with your friends. And make sure you click on the bell so you receive notifications for all my new videos. I'm Cheryl. This is Manny. See you next time.